I'm getting it.
Goes around across. Comes an alien across.
That's what I'll ask you to do, and just pass it around. This one-room German schoolhouse was first built in the late 19th century. When it was first built, it was a 20 by 36 building. Then they added 10 foot from the last lamp back and another 8 foot with a cloakroom and entryway. As with all buildings back then, there was no inside plumbing or running water or electricity. That's why you see the little hand pump and bucket out in front and the outhouse over here. When the Amish children went to school back then, they went to the public schools during the day. Then they'd come to these one-room German schoolhouses several evenings a week to learn their High German. Their High German is what their Sunday services are conducted in, and also what their Bible is printed in. In their homes, they speak what they call Pennsylvania Deutsch, which is a combination of English and German. This is a dialect. It's not a written language, so they also learn English, and their schools are taught in English. When the children came here several evenings a week to learn their High German, they were in the 5th grade. That's why you see the desks are bigger, and they're all the same size. This was never used as a graded school like 1st grade, 2nd grade, and 3rd grade. As the public schools grew larger and moved out of the one-room schoolhouses, the Amish started buying them up and starting their own school system. The qualifications of an Amish school teacher: they have to be at least 19 years of age, they have to have completed and graduated from the 8th grade, they can be men or women, and they are single. They are not certified by the state of Indiana because they only have completed up to the 8th grade. The children start school in August, just like our children do, but they do try to be done by the first part of May because they are needed on the farm for the spring work and the spring planting. They do, however, have to go 180 days, so if they miss too many days because of weddings or funerals or bad weather, or for whatever reason, they do have to make these days up in the springtime. Their school day starts at 9 in the morning, goes till 3 in the afternoon. They have an hour for lunch and 2 15-minute recesses. The children start school when they're 7 years old, and they go to the 8th grade. In the 1st and 2nd and 3rd grade, they're taught the basics like reading, writing, arithmetic, spelling, things like that. In the 4th grade, history and geography is added. Then in the 5th grade, they get some help, and that's when they start learning their High German. Their High German is now taught in the school system during the day, so they don't have to come to these one-room German schoolhouses in the evening anymore. In the schools today, the 1st grade will sit in the 1st row, the 2nd grade in the 2nd row, and on back to the 8th grade is in the last row. As you can see on the board, the Amish children are not given any homework. They feel their schoolwork needs to be done in school during the day, because when they get home at night, they do have a lot of chores to do, and they do feel that chores teach more responsibility than all the book learning. Religion is not taught in the schools. They feel that's the job of the parents in the church. They do, however, put a Bible verse on the board on Monday morning, and they are expected to have that memorized by the time they go home on Friday. The fathers will stop in every once in a while and announce, just to check up on things, make sure there's no problems. While he's here, he will do a devotion with the children. Since they now learn their High German in the school system during the day, then these one-room German schoolhouses were no longer needed. So in 1970, this one was closed and given back to the landowner. Well, he really didn't need a building like this, so he tore up the floor, he put feed bins in over here, he put a big overhead door in over here, and he made a horse stable out of it. And it was a horse stable for 3 decades until 2001, until Amish Shakers purchased it, moved it over here, and restored it. So all the wood you see on the floor is new, and most of the wood on the inside now is new. But the original structure is still intact. As they were doing the restoration of the building, they found some of the boards with the two-tone blue like you see in here today. So they concluded that must have been how it was painted back then, so that's how we painted it again. The first Amish school was built here in the Napanee area in 1942. We do have 22 schools right here in the Napanee area today, and about 162 in the state of Indiana. As we pulled up, you notice a little Amish school bus out there that's called an Amish school hack. That's how the children were transported back and forth to school back then. It carried 18 children, and it was pulled by a team of horses. And it was used till about 1960, until the children decided they would rather ride their bicycles to school, rather than to ride on that school bus. So that school bus was retired. A gentleman named Alvin Yoder, who rode that when he was a boy, restored it for us and brought it over here so you could see how the children were transported back and forth to school back then. It was his grandfather many, many years ago who built it in the first place. The Amish school teachers also ride their bicycles to school unless they live at the school. A lot of times when they build the Amish schools now, they will build a teacher a little apartment, either upstairs or out and back, and they will live right at the school building during the school year. But if they live close enough and choose to, they also ride their bicycles to school. So if you pass an Amish school on a school day, you would see a lot of bicycles parked out in front, and in the morning and the afternoon, you would see the children riding their bicycles to and from school. And they do this throughout the whole school year, even during the cold, snowy winter months. Any questions?
She was seeing front of it, I didn't see it.
Now they have LP gas furnaces that they use, but someone else without standing in front of me didn't see it. So. Yeah.
Do they have a set curriculum, or does each teacher?
They use what they call the Becca homeschooling system. So that's what they use. Yeah.
So they ride their bikes through snowdrifts and blizzards and all that stuff?
Yes, sir. Unless they call off snow days.
And how do they know that?
After it gets to a certain temperature, they know, and they just, word of mouth. Yeah. Well, if there's no other questions, we'll go back.
Yep. I suppose, yeah.
The first weekend in August, we have Arts and Crafts Festival here. Last year we had a little over 300 vendors.
The cast iron kettles like this are still seen on the Amish farms during the lard and butchering time. We do a lot of bone butchering, so when we do our pork, we make our lard. Well, bring us over here to the brick bay, Devin. I'm going to pass around these sugar cookies that were made in the bakery. If you want to try one and help yourself, you're more than welcome to do that. On the back side, we have a live here. First, cure the meat in a salt, brine, and spice solution. We're